I want you to understand something before I tell you this story. I'm not the kind of person who scares easily. I've been driving for Uber for 5 years. I've seen it all. Drunks, fights, people getting sick in my car, couples having breakdowns in my backseat. I thought I'd seen everything. I was wrong. What happened last Saturday night, I still can't explain it. And the worst part, I have no proof it even happened. No ride record. No passenger information. Nothing. Just a memory. And the smell that won't leave my car. It was 11:47 p.m. when the request came through. I was parked outside a 7-Eleven, finishing a terrible gas station burrito and debating whether to call a night. Saturday nights are usually good money, but I'd already been out since 6 p.m. and I was exhausted. Then my phone pinged. Pickup request. 5-star passenger. Surge pricing. The pickup location was only 3 minutes away, a residential street called Hickory Lane. The destination didn't show up, which sometimes happens when passengers add it after you accept. Annoying, but not unusual. I accepted. Hickory Lane was in one of those older suburbs that hadn't been updated since the 80s. Big lots, old trees, houses set far back from the road. Streetlights were sparse, and the ones at work cast these weak yellow circles on the pavement. My GPS directed me to a house with a long driveway. I could barely see the building through the overgrown hedges, but I could make out a porch light. I pulled up to the curb and sent the notification. Within seconds, the porch light went off. That was the first thing that bothered me. Why would someone turn off their light right when their ride arrives? I waited, watching the house. The shadows seemed thicker around it than they should be, like the darkness was pooling around the property. Then the front door opened. A man stepped out. Tall, had to be over 6 feet, broad shoulders. He was wearing a dark jacket and jeans, and he moved with a strange, deliberate gait, not limping, exactly, just careful, like he was carrying something heavy that I couldn't see. He got to the car and opened the back door. The interior light came on. His face was ordinary, forgettable, mid-40s maybe, pale skin, thinning hair, but his eyes, there was something wrong with his eyes. They were too focused, too intent, like he was studying me, cataloging every detail. "Good evening," he said. His voice was soft, almost gentle. "Thank you for coming." "No problem," I said, trying to sound friendly. "Where are we heading?" "I'll give you directions as we go," he said, settling into the seat. "Head north on Hickory, then take a left on Mansfield." I hesitated. Passengers who don't input their destination make me nervous. It's usually fine, but every Uber driver has stories about people trying to scam free rides or leading you to sketchy locations. "I really need the address in the app," I said. "Company policy." He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Of course. The address is 4187 Birchwood Road. But there's a better route than what the GPS will show. I know these roads well. If you don't mind, I'll navigate." Something in his tone made it clear this wasn't a request. I entered the address. Birchwood Road was about 20 minutes away, heading toward the rural area outside of town. The estimated fare was decent. "All right," I said, "buckle up and we'll get going." I watched in the mirror as he reached for the seatbelt. His hands were large, with long fingers. Clean nails. He clicked the belt into place and folded his hands in his lap. "Perfect," he said. "Let's go." The first 10 minutes were fine. He directed me through surface streets, away from the main roads. Said it would avoid traffic, though the streets were empty anyway at this hour. He didn't talk much, didn't look at his phone, just sat there, perfectly still, watching the streets pass by. I tried making conversation. "Late night?" "Yes." "Heading home?" "In a sense." "What do you do for work?" "I help people," he said. "With transitions?" "Like career counseling?" "Something like that." His answers were clipped, offering nothing. After a few more failed attempts at small talk, I gave up and focused on driving. We were leaving the suburbs now, heading into an area I didn't recognize. The houses were getting farther apart. The street lights had disappeared entirely. My headlights were the only source of light, cutting a narrow tunnel through the darkness. "Take the next right," he said, "onto Marsh Road." I slowed, looking for the turn. There was no street sign, just a narrow dirt road branching off from the pavement, disappearing into trees. "That's not on the GPS," I said. "It's a shortcut. The GPS doesn't know about it." Trust me, every instinct I had screamed not to turn. Dirt road, middle of nowhere, no streetlights. Passenger giving directions that didn't match the GPS. This was how people got robbed. Or worse. But he was sitting right behind me. If I refused, would that make things worse? My mind raced through scenarios. I had my phone. I could call 911 if needed. The car doors locked automatically. I could speed away if necessary. I really prefer to stick to the GPS route. I said carefully, "Please," he said, and there was something in his voice now. Not anger. Something else. Urgency. "This is important. I need to get there a specific way. It has to be this road." I looked at him in the mirror. He was leaning forward slightly, his hands gripping his knees. "Why?" I asked. "Because I've made this trip before," he said quietly. "Many times. And it only works if you take this road. Please, I'll double your fare." The money wasn't even a factor at that point. I was genuinely afraid, but I was also trapped. He was bigger than me, stronger, and we were already miles from anyone who could help. I made a decision that I regret to this day. I turned onto Marsh Road. The road was barely wide enough for one car. Tree branches scraped against the sides of my vehicle, making sounds like fingernails on metal. The headlights showed nothing but dirt and trees pressing in from both sides. "How far is this shortcut?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Not far," he said. "Maybe 2 miles." 2 miles had never felt so long. The road curved and dipped, following the natural contours of the land. There were no houses, no other roads, no signs of civilization at all. Then, about a mile in, I saw something in the road ahead, a figure, standing in the middle of the path. I slammed on the brakes. The car skidded slightly on the loose dirt before stopping about 20 feet from the figure. It was a woman, young, maybe early 20s. She was wearing a white dress that seemed to glow in the headlights. Her hair hung around her face in wet tangles. She wasn't moving, just standing there, staring at the car. "What the hell?" I breathed. "Drive around her," the man said calmly. "She's in the middle of the road." "Drive around her." I honked the horn. The woman didn't flinch, didn't move at all. "There's no room to drive around," I said. "The trees are too close." "Then drive through her," he said, and his voice was cold now. "Flat." "What?" "No, I'm not. She's not real," he interrupted. "She's just an echo. Drive through her." An echo? What the hell did that mean? I looked at the woman again. She was still standing there, perfectly motionless. No breathing, no swaying, like a statue. "I'm backing up," I said. "I'm turning around. This whole thing is..." "If you turn around, you'll see something much worse," the man said quietly. "Trust me on that. The only way out is forward. Please, just drive." I looked in the rearview mirror. Behind us, the road disappeared into absolute darkness. And for just a second, just a split second, I thought I saw something moving in that darkness. Something large. I faced forward again. The woman was closer now, at least 10 feet closer. But I hadn't heard her move, hadn't seen her move. She just appeared closer. "Oh, God," I whispered. "Drive," the man said. "Now." I pressed the accelerator. The car rolled forward. The woman grew larger in the windshield, her face becoming visible, pale, expressionless. eyes completely black. I closed my eyes just before we reached her. There was no impact, no thump, nothing. When I opened my eyes, she was gone. I checked the mirrors. Empty road behind us. She'd vanished completely. What the fuck was that? I said, my voice shaking. I told you, the man said. An echo. There are things on this road. Impressions left behind. They can't hurt you if you don't acknowledge them. You did well. What kind of shortcut is this? What is this place? A thin place, he said, where the boundary between here and there gets permeable. Keep driving. We're almost through. I wanted to stop, wanted to demand answers, wanted to call the police, my girlfriend, anyone, but the road was too narrow to turn around. And behind us, in the darkness, I could still feel something watching. So I drove. The trees started to thin out after another quarter mile. The road widened slightly. I could see what looked like an open field ahead. And then I saw the building. It was a house. Old, Victorian style, 3 stories. In the middle of absolute nowhere, there were lights on in some of the windows. Warm, yellow lights that should have been welcoming, but somehow made the place look worse. The road led directly to the house's driveway. Stop here, the man said. I stopped the car about 50 feet from the house. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. This is 4187 Birchwood Road? I asked. No, he said, but this is where I need to be. He unbuckled his seatbelt. I heard the click, impossibly loud in the silence. What is this place? I demanded. He leaned forward, and I could see his face clearly in the mirror for the first time since we turned onto Marsh Road. He looked different, older. His skin was gray now, almost translucent. I could see dark veins beneath the surface. This is where I died, he said simply. 15 years ago. Car accident on Marsh Road. I hit a tree, broke my neck. They didn't find my body for 3 days. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. But I can't move on, he continued. Not until I face what I did. Not until I walk into that house and confront what I left behind. You're dead. I whispered, yes and no. I'm trapped, repeating the same journey over and over, every Saturday night, for 15 years. I call for a ride. Someone comes. We drive to this place, and I try to walk into that house, but I never can. I always fail. I always end up back at the beginning. He opened the door. The interior light came on, and I could see through him now. Not completely, but enough, like he was fading. Why? I asked, why do you need to go into the house? Because that's where I was heading when I crashed, he said. I was going there to hurt someone I loved. I was angry, drunk, out of my mind. I was going to do something terrible, but I died before I could. And now I'm stuck between what I was and what I almost became. He stepped out of the car, stood there looking at the house. Every week I get closer, he said. This week, I made it to the driveway. Maybe next week, I'll make it to the door. Maybe in another 15 years, I'll make it inside. And maybe then I'll be free. He started walking toward the house. His form was flickering now, like a bad TV signal. Wait, I called. What about me? How do I get out of here? He stopped, turned to face me one last time. Drive forward, he said, past the house. The road continues. You'll find your way back. You always do. I always do? What does that mean? But he was already fading, walking up the driveway, toward the house, growing more transparent with each step. By the time he reached the front door, he was gone completely. I sat there for a long moment, engine running, staring at the house. The lights were still on inside. I could see shadows moving behind the curtains, shapes that didn't look quite human. I put the car in drive and moved forward slowly, giving the house a wide berth. As I passed, I made the mistake of looking through one of the windows. There were people inside, dozens of them, all standing perfectly still. all staring out at me. I recognized some of the faces. The woman in the white dress from the road, an old man in a business suit, a teenage boy in a football jersey, all dead, all trapped. I hit the gas and didn't look back. The road continued past the house, just like he'd said. After about half a mile, it reconnected with a paved road I recognized. I was 5 miles from the highway. According to my GPS, I'd only been gone 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. When I checked my Uber app, there was no record of the ride, no passenger, no pickup, no destination. But my gas tank was lower. My tires were covered in dirt. And when I got home and checked my car, I found something in the backseat, a photograph, old, faded. It showed a man, my passenger, standing in front of that Victorian house. He was smiling, alive. His arm was around a woman. On the back, written in faded ink, before 2009. I stopped driving for Uber after that. Told my girlfriend I was done, needed a break, got a day job in an office. But sometimes, late at night, I'll be driving home and my phone will ping. A ride request, pickup location, Hickory Lane. Destination, not specified. 5-star passenger. I never accept, but the requests keep coming. Every Saturday night, at exactly 11:47 p.m. And sometimes I wonder, how many other drivers have made that trip? How many have turned onto Marsh Road? How many times has he tried to reach that house? And what happens if he finally makes it inside? Will he be free, or will something else escape? Last Saturday night, I made a mistake. I was curious. I drove back to Hickory Lane during the day, trying to find a house where I'd picked him up. The address exists. The house is there, but it's abandoned. Has been for years. Windows boarded up. For sale, sign rotting in the overgrown yard. According to the sign, it's been on the market since 2009. I looked up the property records. The last owner was named David Mitchell, age 47. He disappeared on October 14th, 2009. His car was found wrapped around a tree on Marsh Road. He died on impact. Police investigated. Found evidence that he'd been planning to confront his ex-wife. He'd sent threatening messages, made violent threats. They believed he was on his way to her house when he crashed. His ex-wife lived at 4187 Birchwood Road, the address he'd given me, the house where I dropped him off. I've tried to find again. Driven every road in that area. Marsh Road doesn't appear on any map. That Victorian house doesn't exist in any property records, but I know it's out there. And every Saturday night, David Mitchell is still trying to reach it, still trying to complete the journey he started 15 years ago, still trying to become the monster he was meant to be, or maybe trying to stop himself from becoming it. I don't know which is worse. I got another request last night, Saturday, 11:47 p.m. Pickup, Hickory Lane. This time there was a message attached. Please, I'm so close. Just one more time. I didn't accept, but I'm afraid that one day I will, because part of me needs to know what happens when he finally walks through that door. What's been waiting for him all these years? And what happens to the driver who takes him there when he does?
Mr. Nighty Creep is watching. Are you subscribed yet?